What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Railgun from the Engineer, as lots of folks have been asking me about the Railgun, and a lot of people are saying that they can't get their Railguns functioning properly after the previous hotfix that nerfed some of the Railgun's shards and mods. Now, let's take a look at what the Railgun is supposed to do first thing. One of the best places in the game to look at any descriptions on a hero or a defense is on the Create Hero screen. So if we go to the Create Hero screen here, and we take a look at the Railgun, charges up a powerful laser that hits the strongest enemy in range for massive damage. Keywords here being strongest enemy in range. Although we don't have a choice on how to change them or select them, every defense in Dungeon Defenders 2 does have a targeting priority. The Railgun's targeting priority is the strongest enemy. Strongest enemy referring to their hero health pool. So, with that in mind, if this was a lane and you've got, say, a chieftain or an ogre and then a goblin, and you have a Railgun right here, the Railgun is going to shoot at that chieftain or ogre, and it is not going to touch the goblin. Meaning until that chieftain or ogre dies, the goblin can just walk right on by and do whatever it wants. I think that is probably one of the main things that is confusing a lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong, once you get your Railgun squared away, if you're at a situation or a map with long lanes, you can without a doubt spam Railguns and they will blast through everything and clear it all out. However, a best use for a Railgun is going to be to add it into a lane as a supplemental defense. So you've got a heavy-hitting defense that's going to snipe out those chieftain or berserkers or ogres or whatever the case is. And then you've got your other defenses, say, a magnetic knight or even a sentry that is designed to clear out the smaller enemies. So using your defenses properly with each other is without a doubt the recipe for success, not just for the Railgun, but for everything in every Dungeon Defenders game. So make sure you're using your defenses properly and not just spamming them around and expecting them to clear everything. Now, taking a look at the shards and mods on the Railgun, what I am using is Defense Rate, Energy Overload, and Anti-Melee. Defense Rate, I think, is kind of a no-brainer. Energy Overload, I feel like is kind of a no-brainer as well. This is going to give the Railgun a little bit of AoE damage. It overloads, dealing 35% damage to nearby enemies. So this is going to help the Railgun in those situations where there is a pack of mobs. And of course, it's firing onto the heaviest enemy. Remember, this is a small AoE range, though. So if the mobs are spread out, it's not really going to assist you in lane clearing if you've got a large group of mobs. With that, I'm using Mass Destruction, Destruction, and Power Transfer. Now, of course, we have that Kinetic Energy Shard. The Kinetic Energy Shard actually had the Nerf Bat swing on it kind of hard, and in my opinion is no longer a usable shard. So it's just not a shard you're going to want to use. I can't even find where I put mine. I know I've got one around here somewhere. So I personally am going with Mass Destruction, Destruction, and Power Transfer. Power Transfer now, of course, is kind of a powerhouse. Gives your defense an additional 38% crit chance gilded, and it reduces the defense's health. So it's kind of just a win for a DPS type tower that you don't care how much health they have, and it allows you to jack that crit chance up on your Railgun. So that's the recipe I'm using. I think the only real optional mod there would be Anti-Melee. You could go with Anti-Chaos, you could go with Controller, you could go with whatever you want, really, to be honest with you. You could go with another crit mod, go with either crit chance, crit damage, you could go with a diverse mod if you're putting it in groups with lots of other defenses. The sky's the limit on that third mod slot. Do whatever you want. However, Mass Destruction, Destruction, and Power Transfer are definitely going to give you some nice results on your Railgun. Now, with that in mind, you can just get absurd levels of power going with the Railgun itself. So, say you're in a situation where you've got everything full boosted, So we've got a boost aura, we've got our destructive pylon, we've got a buff beam even. The thing is just going to hit like a truck. If we go ahead and crank it up, I'm not going to upgrade the boost or the buff just because you're not really going to get enough mana in most maps to upgrade those things anyway. So let's look at real results instead of just EP results. In this situation, I'm doing 78 million DPS. Just absolutely wrecks it. It's hitting for a ton. You know, we see the attack damage on it is 45.8 million. However, 73% crit chance. With the current configuration, I'm at 97.5% crit damage, and that is going to allow it to just dish out some serious pain. So we take a look over here. You know, it's just wrecking it. It's consistent, dropping 22 million DPS. That actually doesn't even sound right. Yeah, pretty certain that is not right. The dummy had to catch up there. But the Railgun does pack a punch. You see here I'm doing 45 million normal damage, and then the crits are going up to 90, looks like 90,488,000. Those 31 million numbers you're seeing off to the side is from the mod. So that is the AoE damage you're getting. Remember that 31 million is hitting goblins and all of the little guys around. So you do get a little bit of lane clearing out of your Railgun. However, I think anyone who's having struggles using their Railgun is probably a matter of just not understanding how it is supposed to function. Like I said, it's a great supplemental defense. So an absolute powerhouse of a build would be a Railgun plus other things in the mix. My favorite go-to build on every map in Chaos 10 so far has been to go with the Magnetic Knights. Magnetic Knights with a Railgun in the middle. It just destroys every single map in the game. There's a lot of powerhouses out there. Jade insisted I check out the flat cannons, and let me tell you, the flat cannons are crazy, crazy, crazy. Flat cannons make an amazing addition to a Railgun. This is just going to clear out a lane. In this situation, you got massive short range damage and massive long range damage with the Railgun. So don't use the Railgun as your main damage unless you're on one of those maps where you can get away with it, as it is possible once you get your Railgun set up to use them on long lane mats to just clear stuff out. So that is an option once you're in higher gear, but most realistic use for it and best use for most players is going to be to incorporate it into a defense with or a build with other defenses. So have fun with your Railguns, y'all. It is thematically probably one of the coolest damn things in the entirety of the game. In my personal opinion, I love the art style on it. I love the whole theme of it. I think the thing is just absolutely badass, and I'm digging them. So hopefully you're digging them too, and get some good results for your Railguns. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll do my best to get your questions answered. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.